Right. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. So, welcome to the 3ds Max beginner course starter guide. Um, so, I'm really excited about this program. I think that it has a lot to offer. So, that's what I wanted to show you over the course of the next few days when we're working with this program. So, a couple of things though. When you get started, you're likely going to see a screen that looks like this. So, this can look very intimidating at first. I know that when I first started out, I had used game engines like Unity, I'd used Blender a little bit, and I've used Maya. And so this has some similarities to it, to all of those programs. But 3ds Max has a pretty distinctive difference that I think is really helpful, and it's it has an advantage that is really useful when it comes to working with objects, changing things up, and trying out, different modifications for modeling or environments that you're creating. So when you go into your scene, you're likely going to see something that looks like this, as you can see on my screen here. This is my viewport. It might show you, it may look like this, where it's just the standard perspective view. Or you may see something, you'll see I'm clicking down here, that has these four viewports. So the viewport is just where you add your shapes, and I'll show you a couple of things about how you could work with them at the same time. But on the left side, you're going to see what amounts to your hierarchy in Unity, or it's called your Scene Explorer. But this helps you to just see what is in your scene. You can rename stuff. And it's, again, it helps you organize things. You'll find a lot of similarities between this and a game engine, at least that I found that to be the case. And then over here is kind of like your inspector or your properties. The thing to note, though, is that when you look at this scene, like you're not going to have a traditional, like this is the size. You have to go to a couple of other windows. But the first thing I'm going to do is let's just add a really quick shape. So if I go to the perspective view, I'm just going to click box. And the easiest way to do this is to drag. And then when you let go, you'll see that it creates the box. Now, if I wanted to change something about it, let's say I wanted to make this like a little smaller, then I can also do that as well. All right, so again, I can click like this move tool, and you'll notice that this right now seems to be kind of like on this grid, which is fine for the purposes of this. And once I've made the box, I can't really change anything about it. Like I can change its name, so maybe I want it to be like this yellow color. And then I can also change, let's just call it cubes for this. And then I can, but if I want to change something else about it, I can't really do that. So the other thing you're going to use quite a bit is this panel over here that's called modify. And again, it has length right here. So let's say I just want to make this 2 by 2 by 2. I can do that right there. And then I have this box at this point. A couple of other things I can do too. Again, you'll see this right here is I can move this around. So if I wanted to move this to be in a certain spot, I can do that just like, most modeling programs. If I wanted to rotate it, I can click up here and then I can rotate it like this. Or if I wanted to scale it, then I can also do this. And you'll notice I can click on just one axis or I can click on multiple like this, which is kind of a cool feature that you'll see. You are going to notice, and this may be important as you start, especially if you have some ideas about like what your um, the sizes need to be, that if I am clicked on this scale tool, you're going to notice that this is a different number. Then like here, this is degrees, and then here is your coordinates. All right, so a few other things. So to get started, I just always recommend creating a bunch of different shapes and seeing how that process works. So again, if I have a cylinder, you click and drag, and you kind of just estimate right here. When you let go of the mouse, then you click. And then if you want to change something about its size, you can, or if you right click, then you can kind of set its size. You're going to see a lot of different objects, which are kind of interesting. Like you have this torus. which again is something you would see in like Blender or a few other programs like that. And again, I can move these things around just like this. The one that you may see quite a bit of, and I think it's interesting that it's a primitive, is this teapot, which is right here. So you'll notice that I'm creating it, and then when I let go, again, I can change its segments if I want to, and I can add the spout like this, and now I have this teapot. And so, what I always did when I was first starting out, because again, making shapes here was very different. You can also, of course, go to create up here and then you can pick your list right there. So I'll just show you, I'll do a cone and it'll pick it and then you can draw and then you can also kind of go in like this and you can make your object. So, but most of the time you're going to be doing and working with the shapes right here in the create panel and then right here in the modify panel. And that's the basics of how things will work. Again, if I need to change something, I can change it right here. You are going to notice some height segments, which we're going to use in a little bit just after we make some shapes. But those are the basics of how this works with this program with shapes. Again, if you want to make like parent and child objects, you can do this as well. You'll notice if you right click things, you can do what's called cloning an object, which is making another copy. You can hit rename, you can go to your properties if you want and see everything about it, which is kind of a cool feature. Um, you can also you can freeze something, which freezing means just you can't click on it. So if you have an object you don't want to be able to click on, you can do that too. You can add selected to. There's a lot of different things that you can do with each of these shapes. Some other things as well is maybe I want this to be like right there, so I can make a child object right there. And you'll notice I clicked on this cube and I want to move them together. You can also do that. That's very similar to Unity. But you also have the option if you right click on an object to change a lot of different things about it. Okay. Some other things too that I think are kind of cool, especially as you get started with this program, is anything that you want to do, like it'll tell you. So if you hover over it, it'll tell you what each of these things is. But if you have a button, for instance, this is one that you use quite a bit. If you right click on it, it will often give you some other options that you can pick. So snaps, for instance, is going to be an important part of using this program. So if you want to be able to snap things to like different objects, you can pick what you want here. You can also do options and you can say like this is how many degrees I want this to be moving whenever I'm rotating it. So it's a little bit more free form. Okay. So there's a lot of cool things. Again, any of these things right here, you can pick and you can right click and you get more options with it, which I think again is helpful when you're getting started. This is pretty similar to working with a lot of programs on the computer as well. So that's kind of a starter guide to begin with 3ds Max. Again, this took a little bit of getting used to when I was beginning because you've got this create button and then you have this modify button right here, which is where you make all of your changes. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is what's called the modifier stack. And so what that does is allows you to make parametric changes to an object that you are working with in the scene that you may need to change something about it, or maybe there's an effect that you want to add to it that can create closer to like the thing that you're trying to model. All right, so I hope this was helpful for you to get started. Again, to begin, add as many shapes as you want. Just take a look at them, see how many shapes you can add, see what kind of changes you can make. There's nothing that you're going to break with this, like add some different lights, change the shading, change the viewpoints. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that you can just do within this scene that can help you get used to the interface a little bit. Okay, so again, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next video.